Latest on the search for a missing college student from Iowa. 20-year-old Mollie Tibbetts disappeared 6 days ago, went out on a run. Hundreds have come together to join the search, and we are hearing from her mother and boyfriend this morning. ABC's Whit Johnson has the story. Good morning, Whit.
George, good morning to you. This tiny farming community has been upended by Mollie Tibbetts' disappearance. Friends say she goes running near the cornfields almost every evening around the same time, but fear began to spread when she didn't show up to work the next morning.
A flood of missing posters going up all over this small farming community as the search grows more desperate for Mollie Tibbetts, the University of Iowa student who police say disappeared while out on a jog nearly a week ago. This morning, her boyfriend, Dalton Jack, speaking out about the 20-year-old's disappearance.
One of her work friends called me and said she didn't come in today and she didn't call in. And I was like, well, that's not like her.
Investigators say the psychology major was last seen Wednesday night wearing gym shorts, a black sports bra, and running shoes. Her wallet and identification all left behind at her boyfriend's apartment.
I looked back at my messages and she hadn't opened a single one of them or read a single one of them. So I started throwing red flags and started calling everybody to see if they'd got in contact with her, and everybody had come up blank.
Jack telling ABC News that Tibbetts was dog-sitting that evening while he was working a construction job about 50 miles away.
If this is her running off, this is just, nobody would have seen it coming. Nobody would have ever guessed that she would just take off and not tell anybody.
With the help of dozens of volunteers, the sheriff's office searching through thick cornfields 9 feet tall, calling the case very unusual for this rural town of about 1,500 people.
We've got the State Patrol airplane up, and we've had some helicopters from local hospitals helping us out as well.
New developments in the murder of that college student in Iowa. The suspect was in court for the first time today. Prosecutors say he kidnapped and killed Mollie Tibbetts while she was jogging, dumping her body in a cornfield. Authorities say he was in the U.S. illegally and that he used a false ID to get work. ABC's Alex Perez from Iowa again tonight.
Mr. Rivera, did you kill Mollie Tibbetts?
Tonight, the man accused of murdering Mollie Tibbetts arriving at an Iowa courthouse. Shackled and escorted by deputies, 24-year-old Christian Rivera facing a judge.
Mr. Rivera, you have been charged with murder in the first degree.
Rivera listening to the charges through a translator, his girlfriend and family in the courtroom. Authorities say Rivera confessed to abducting and killing Mollie Tibbetts while she was out for a jog, dumping her body in a cornfield. Investigators say they cracked the case using surveillance footage showing the suspect's car near Mollie during her run.
Frame by frame and in real-time motion, and eventually saw Mollie on the video, led us to Mr. Rivera identifying the vehicle.
According to investigators, Rivera, who's from Mexico, was in the country illegally. Tonight, the owner of the farm where he worked saying Rivera lied.
What we learned in the last 24 hours is that our employee was not who he said he was.
The farm now says when they hired Rivera 4 years ago, they screened him through an older system instead of Homeland Security's E-Verify.
And Alex Perez back with us tonight. And Alex, tonight Christian Rivera remains behind bars.
That Iowa authorities have changed an illegal alien in the murder of, and they charged an illegal alien in the murder of a college student, Mollie Tibbetts. And you know, the amazing thing is that everybody was talking about Mollie. Beautiful, wonderful, incredible person. Everybody loved her. Everybody that met her loved her. And the father was saying, she's coming back, she's coming back. And I was watching and I was saying, maybe he's right. And this went on for a long time. When they found out that it was this horrible, illegal immigrant that viciously killed her, all of a sudden that story went down. They didn't want to cover it the way it should have been covered. But what happened to Mollie was a disgrace, and our hearts go out.
After police arrested an undocumented immigrant for the murder of Mollie Tibbetts, the case turned into a political hot-button issue. The controversy got another boost Wednesday when President Trump released a video linking the case to U.S. immigration policy.
This is one instance of many. We have tremendous crime trying to come through the borders. We have the worst laws anywhere in the world. Nobody has laws like the United States. They are strictly pathetic.
In the video, President Trump goes on to push for increased funding for the proposed border wall between Mexico.
You heard about today with the illegal alien coming in, very sadly, from Mexico, and you saw what happened to that incredible, beautiful young woman. Should have never happened. Have changed an illegal alien in the murder of, and they charged an illegal.
That's the most recent FBI data to go on. The number is up 8.5% from the year before, up twice that since 2012. Now, you don't hear about that much. Plenty of the victims are young people, young women, college age, but you don't see them adopted by the right as targets of national attention, except when the killer is what they like to call an illegal alien or something worse. Kate Steinle, now Mollie Tibbetts.
Now, in the murder of Iowa college student Mollie Tibbetts, the attorney for the accused killer, Christian Rivera, is blasting President Trump, claiming he's speaking out against his client to push his immigration agenda.
I think that people are buying into the concepts and notions that Mr. Trump is bringing forward.
The body of the University of Iowa student was found yesterday, 1 month after she disappeared. Today, an immigrant who was living in the U.S. illegally was now accused of killing Tibbetts went before a judge. Adriana Diaz is in Iowa.
Mollie Tibbetts' alleged murderer shuffled into the courtroom in silence, wearing a prison jumpsuit and headphones for Spanish translation.
Mr. Rivera, you have been charged with murder in the first degree.
24-year-old Christian Bahena Rivera is originally from Mexico. Federal officials tell us he's an undocumented immigrant. Says the president shouldn't make the case political.
If you spent half as much time talking about somebody being presumed innocent until the facts are out there, I think would be a great help.
Tibbetts' family wasn't in court, but they did.
Mollie Tibbetts, the University of Iowa student found dead last month, says attempts to use the killing to promote an anti-immigrant agenda are heartless, despicable, and shameful. In an opinion piece, the Des Moines Register, Rob Tibbetts says, quote, "Please leave us out of your debate. Allow us to grieve in privacy and with dignity." He also said those exploiting her death hold views Mollie considered profoundly racist.
Talent is God's gift to you, and what you do with it is your gift back to God.
Mollie Tibbetts' father told CBS News she would want people to turn away from venal and petty impulses and work toward harmony. To knowingly foment discord among races is a disgrace to our flag, he wrote in the Des Moines Register Saturday. It incites fear in innocent communities and lends legitimacy to the darkest, most hate-filled corners of the American soul. An undocumented Mexican immigrant has been charged with Mollie Tibbetts' murder. That means I'm Hispanic, I am African, I am Asian, I am European, Tibbetts wrote. My blood runs from every corner of the earth because I am American. His op-ed was published the day after the same newspaper printed an opinion piece by Donald Trump Jr. The president's son blamed Democrats and lax border policies for Tibbetts' death, a position echoed by the president.
They charged an illegal alien in the murder of a college student.
We now know that Mollie Tibbetts was killed with sharp force injury, according to the medical examiner's report, which came out late today. Christian Rivera, an illegal immigrant charged with carrying out that brutal murder, claims that he blacked out and that he has no recollection of the attack. Joining me now exclusively is Rivera's defense attorney, Alan Richards. Mr. Richards, welcome to the story. Thank you for being here tonight to answer some questions. He described what happened in pretty great detail in the police report. He talked about running behind her and then alongside of her. Then she said she was going to call the police. Then he panicked and got mad and says that he blacked out after that. Your response to the fact that it is now known that she died from sharp force injury?
I would have no comment on, those reports until I see the reports.
You haven't seen the medical examiner's report from your case?
As far as the death, I'm real sorry about the death. I'm not going to make any comment on a report until somebody testifies to in more detail concerning the matter.
So you haven't read the medical examiner's report with regard to your client that came out today. But anyway, so I just filled you in on the headline there, which is that she was killed with sharp force trauma, blunt force trauma, essentially, which indicates that she was hit hard with something, hard enough to kill her, according to these reports. We also have this picture today of the cornfield where her body was found, and he described to the police in detail that he brought her to a secluded location. He carried her over his shoulder, took her about 20 meters into the cornfield, and then left her covered in some corn leaves and left her there face up. That's the report according to your client. Do you want to comment on that at all?
I understand that. That is what the investigators are stating. You know, as far as you're asking me, I've been here, I'm in Tama County. I've been in court proceedings most of the afternoon or morning here in Tama County. And I will have the opportunity to review those matters.
Okay. This is a soundbite that you said. I want to play something that you said that's gotten a lot of attention yesterday about your case. Let's play that.
And the law includes presumption of innocence and due process before critical mistake of saying the outrageous thing that sad and sorry Trump has been saying. And he said it about this case, which there's no premise in the history of our country where a man in that position, a sad and sorry Trump, should even be commenting on him until we get past this presumption of innocence.
So why did you decide to bring the president into it?
Well, he's brought himself into it, and I think that people are buying into the concepts and notions that Mr. Trump is bringing forward. And at this stage in the process, it's not proper. I think there's a misconception of what the role of a defense attorney is. My role is to vigorously represent Christian, and my obligation is to the administration of justice in a manner that seeks out the truth in a manner that helps people and societal problems in a rational, peaceful,
I understand what you're saying.
and efficient manner.
I just think, in terms of the question of his immigrant status, ICE and his employer both verified today, because there was some confusion about it, both verified today that they consider him an illegal immigrant from Mexico. And I fail to see how that fact isn't, it's just a fact. I mean, if he was from Colorado and lived there for 20 years, we would know that. But we know that he's an illegal immigrant who arrived from Mexico and has lived in Iowa for 4 to 7 years. So I fail to see how that's irrelevant, or how bringing that in is not part of the facts that surround this case. How is it not?
That's rhetoric. The United States Constitution provides if you're not a citizen, you still are entitled to the jurisdictions of the courts and entitled to equal protection under the law.
I don't think anyone said he wasn't. What people are saying is that he arrived here illegally from Mexico 4 to 7 years ago.
That's your rhetoric on it.
It's not rhetoric.
I'm part of an agrarian
that's
society.
what the immigration officials are saying their reports indicate. He used a false name to work for an employer. They thought he was somebody else. We know that as well. These are the facts that are being dug up in the case. No one's making judgment on them themselves. They're just saying this is what we've learned so far about this individual. So why wouldn't that be relevant? This is his background.
You want to jump to say they're facts. Have these people been under oath? Have these people provided the opportunity for Christian to present his point of view on the matter?
It's not a point of view question.
Illegal, but
it's not a point of view question. Either he's here legally or he's not here legally. It's really not a point of view question. It's not a rhetoric question, sir.
That's maybe your point of view, Martha. We have a society here, an agrarian society, where these individuals are welcome here. They are accepted by the wealthy individuals that are running these companies, and they're a vital part to the community.
They may be,
and
sir.
For anybody to say otherwise,
you're talking apples and oranges. They may be accepted by the community. They may be brought in. The company that hired him says that he gave them a fake ID, that they ran that through their system of the Social Security system, is what they said. That they ran it through. He gave them a fake ID. So these are the facts. Whether or not they were welcomed to work there that's fine. But he came here illegally is just part of the equation. So to say that that's bringing politics into it, I think you're putting rhetoric and point of view on it.
well, you're trying to say that his state of mind was in such a way. We're dealing with an individual that has a middle school education, so his perception is entitled to equal protection and due process. Now, you can jump to it and just say, these are the facts, but that doesn't make them facts because you say so, Martha. The man is entitled to a hearing on the issue.
And he has an 8th grade education. These are facts. These are not emotional. This is his situation. This is how long he's been here, where he worked. This is the background. So I don't understand, why you're trying to put something else on top of it. Whenever you have a case, as you well know, as a defense attorney, you try to nail down what happened and who's involved and what their situation is. No? And then I got to go.
Well, the situation he's involved with concerning his status has nothing to do with the situation that unfortunately happened over there on that road in Brooklyn. I'm sorry.
All right.
He's entitled to a hearing on the immigration issue.
Which he will get. Exactly. Alan Richards, thank you, sir. Thank you.
A little bit of a clearing. There were bent over corn stalks covering what is the body. And so the bent over corn area allowed for a little bit of an opening in the corn.
Okay. And was there any particular item of clothing that stood out that identified that area as where Mollie Tibbetts was located?
Yes.
What was that?
Her bright colored running shoes.
Were you able to locate Mollie Tibbetts' shorts?
I found a pair of black shorts in the cornfield.
I understand. They were only associated with her because they were near her body that you located, correct?
Correct.
All right. And did you find another article of clothing near where Mollie Tibbetts was located?
Yes, two more items.
Okay. What else did you find?
There was a pink band of fabric and a striped, what appears to be underpants. Underwear.
These are some disturbing details. Let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter, who joins us in Davenport, Iowa tonight. Chanley, I did not know this, that when they found Mollie Tibbetts, her shorts, her underwear not found on her body. This is bad stuff.
Vinny, it is. We did not know this, and I know we don't show the graphic photos on Court TV because they are graphic, but the jury was able to also see her heavily decomposed body in a position. What position her body was in, Vinny? It was could have been a suggested position that the remains were in her arms up over her head, her legs spread apart, one bent up towards herself, one out to the side. But yes, we're learning that in the condition that she was found in, she didn't have her shorts or her underwear on. She only was wearing a sports bra, her socks, and her neon-colored running shoes that you can still see in the photos that the jury witnessed today, Vinny. But her shorts and underwear were found a distance away, around 30.
That's the obvious thing you would take away from it. Why else would you take off the clothes unless it was for some strange, twisted sexual gratification, either before or after she was murdered?
Right, and this is something that has been litigated in pretrial motions, the defense wanting to prevent the prosecution from claiming any sort of sexual assault because there's been no claim of that. We've heard the investigators, the crime scene technicians, talk about testing these items found at the cornfield at the crime scene for seminal fluid, for semen. And there was not any positive and or conclusive finding of semen on any of the items. And given the state of the decomposition of her body, they couldn't even find DNA on her body except for, I think it was their bone fragments. So they didn't have the ability, and he certainly didn't confess to that in the 11 hours of interrogation, Vinny, so they didn't have enough evidence here. And of course the judge ruled that any prior bad acts like other women or allegations of sexual misconduct are not in front of this jury, and that's why we keep hearing, even on cross-examination, the defense bringing up there's no allegations of that here in this case.
There's a murder. The body is found without the shorts, the underwear on, in the position as you described it. I mean, there's some sick stuff going on here with whoever is responsible for the murder of Mollie Tibbetts. To me, that's just the bottom line and would be blatantly obvious to any juror who listens to the evidence in this case. Now, whether or not there's a sexual assault, well, is it even relevant? I mean, it's about what this jury is hearing and what the facts are. And whoever they find is responsible took her clothes off. And why are you taking your clothes off? I mean, to me, it's obvious that it's some sick sexual perversion, whether or not there was or was not an assault. Whoever is responsible for what happened to Mollie Tibbetts.
Yeah, I think you're right. Jurors have common sense, Vinny, in this case. The evidence that they've seen, the photos they've seen, just the statements of Christian Bahena Rivera saying that he claimed Mollie smiled and waved at him. So he turned his car around, went over to her. He thought she was hot. He described exactly what she was wearing: black shorts, the pink sports bra, hair in a ponytail. That's what the jurors saw pictures of that were found there in the cornfield. Still, some of it on her body, some of it 34 feet away. So I think that it's easy for the jurors to make that conclusion, and possibly could even be argued as a motive. Prosecution doesn't have to present a motive, but maybe they will in closing argument.
All right, let's talk about some of the other evidence. And criminalist Tara Scott also testified today. Let's take a listen.
Were you able to develop a profile from this particular area of the trunk that you were able to match to a known profile in this case?
Yes.
Okay, and can you describe that analysis, please?
So the profile that I developed indicated a mixture of 3 individuals. I was able to determine a partial profile at 20 out of the 21 locations that I tested of the major contributor, and that was consistent with the known DNA profile of Mollie Tibbetts.
Okay, is there a statistical probability that's associated with that?
Yes.
And what is that?
That would be less than 1 out of 2.1 nonillion.
Okay, so another very large number, correct?
Yes.
And in very basic terms, what does that mean with regard to the cutting that you took that we see here in State's Exhibit 51?
At the 20 locations, I was able to determine a major profile. It matched Mollie Tibbetts at those 20 locations.
So Mollie Tibbetts' blood is in the trunk of the Malibu. Is that a safe conclusion?
The screening tests at that area indicated the presence of blood.
More devastating evidence. To me, this is very compelling.
It really is. It corroborates the story, the statement that Bahena gave to investigators. Remember, the jury heard from former Officer Romero about what he told her about putting her in the cornfield, putting her in the trunk. And that's what this evidence corroborates, Vinny. In his Chevy Malibu, Mollie Tibbetts' DNA is found not only inside the trunk, but on the seal right there, the seal lining of the trunk, and inside towards the tail light on the liner of the trunk inside. It is interesting that it's only a small amount of blood, though, Vinny, given that the medical examiner is going to tell this jury on Monday that she died of multiple sharp force injuries. So not quite sure why there's not more blood inside the trunk of his car.
But it's there, and it's his car, it's his truck, it's his trunk that he was driving. We've seen the surveillance video, we've seen all of that. And again, it seems a big part of what the defense is trying to do is say this is some sort of a coerced false confession, yet you have now more evidence that is consistent with this so-called forced false confession from at least the argument the defense is going to make, and this completely undermines that.
That's correct. I don't know what theory they're going to come up to overwhelm that, because again, this corroborates the story and the statement. Maybe he wasn't aware that this was happening in his vehicle. Just to point out, there was a court document filed a long time ago where there was, the defense was alleging someone else's DNA was found inside the trunk, and I didn't know really where they were getting with that, maybe pointing to someone else who took over his car, and corroborates the story and the statement. Maybe he wasn't aware that this was happening in his vehicle. Just to point out, there was a court document filed a long time ago where the defense was alleging someone else's DNA was found inside the trunk, and I didn't know really where they were getting with that, maybe pointing to someone else who took over his car and used it.
At this time, Mr. Bahina, I'm going to ask that you rise along with your attorneys, please. And I would ask that the court attendant read the jury's verdict.
We, the jury, find the defendant, Christian Bahina Rivera, guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
Thank you, Carrie. You may be seated, please.
Deported illegal alien that was not supposed to be in this country. In the sanctuary city of Philadelphia. I went to school in Philadelphia. Local officials released a previously deported illegal alien back onto the streets. After his release, the illegal alien raped a very young child. I won't even tell you how old this child was. They say, oh, I'm not going to vote for Trump, except when they get into the voting booth. That's what happened, remember? They went into the booth. They said, you know, is anybody watching? Trump. True. True. Common sense. Even the exit polls, you know, about 5 o'clock, people were coming out. Who'd you vote for? Well, I voted for crooked Hillary. But they didn't. We were a little worried with those exit polls, and we started winning every state. I said, something's wrong. That's okay. Whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes. We were a little worried with those exit polls, and we started winning every state. I said, something's wrong. That's okay. Whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes. Polls, and we started winning every state. I said, something's wrong. That's okay. Whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes.
Mr. Mackey, good morning to you. Switch.
Your Honor, just the interpreter is going to respectfully ask the witness to get close to the mic.
We'll do it. Good morning, sir. To the extent you can, raise your right hand so we can swear you in, okay? You swear or affirm the testimony that I've given me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Please be seated.
Would you state your name, spelling both your first and last name, sir?
Yes. Arne, A-R-N-E, Mackey, M-A-K-I.
Sir, how old are you?
46.
And you are presently a resident in the Iowa Department of Corrections, correct?
Yes.
And where are you serving your time?
In Oakdale right now.
What charge are you serving your time on?
Domestic violence.
And what is your projected discharge date?
December 4th.
Of this year?
Yes.
And the conviction you find yourself serving time for, out of what county did you get that conviction?
Saguenay.
That's Keokuk County?
Correct.
Are you from Iowa originally?
What was that?
Are you from Iowa originally?
No, I'm from Upper Michigan.
When did you move to Iowa?
July 20, excuse me. It was the end of July, or end of June.
Of?
The 25th, somewhere around there.
Of 2020?
Yes.
So you've been in Iowa about a year?
So far, no, yes.
Okay. Did you move here because of family?
No, I moved here because my ex-girlfriend wanted to be close to her mom.
And she was the victim of your offense?
Correct.
Now, you found yourself in the Iowa Department of Corrections, but before then, were you in the Keokuk County Jail?
Yes.
And how long did you serve time in the Keokuk County Jail?
3 months, from July 26th through October 19th of 2020.
And during your time in the Keokuk County Jail, did you come to know an individual named Gavin Jones?
Yes.
And was Mr. Jones also in the Keokuk County Jail during that time?
Yes.
Do you recall how long a period of time you served in the Keokuk County Jail with Mr. Jones?
21 days.
Did you become friends, so to speak, with Mr. Jones?
Yes.
I'm going to put in front of you on the TV screen there what's been marked previously as Defendant's Exhibit C. Let me know if you see it.
I think the court's going to need to bring it up on the screen.
We'll have
it's off.
I think it's as much.
I don't think it's going to reach.
And accurately depict the individual that you know as Gavin Jones?
Correct.
Is that how he appeared when you and he were in the Keokuk County Jail together?
Just longer hair.
I'd offer Exhibit C, Your Honor.
Any objection?
Your Honor, I'd object to the extra information in this exhibit as contains several identification and information that the defendant's not qualified to testify to in addition to the photograph. There's no foundation or authentication laid to introduce this extraneous evidence outside of the photograph. So I'd object on that basis.
Here's what we'll do. I'll admit C into evidence, and I would ask that if the state has any concerns about any information that's contained in there, share that with the defense, make sure it's redacted before it's put into the system.
Very well. Now, Mr. Mackey, when you were in jail with Mr. Jones, did you know why Mr. Jones was in jail?
No, I wasn't.
Did Mr. Jones get released from the Keokuk County Jail prior to you being released?
Yes.
When Mr. Jones was released from the Keokuk County Jail, did you and he have a conversation about what he was doing next?
No.
Was he going to another jail?
No.
Did he need bail money?
Yes, he did.
Why did he need bail money?
Because he was afraid to go back to Marion County. He was afraid of being indicted.
Is that what he told you?
Yes.
Did he tell you why he was afraid of being indicted?
No, he wouldn't tell me.
Was he able to post bail out of Keokuk County to avoid going to Marion County Jail?
Yes, I did, with my help.
Okay, you gave him money?
Correct.
How much money did you have available to give him?
I told him, I said if he got 100, I would give him the 70.
So you gave him $70?
Correct.
When you were booked out of the Keokuk County Jail, were you given a book out sheet?
No.
Okay. But the records of the Keokuk County Jail would establish that you gave him, in fact, $70.
Correct.
Did you have a conversation with the sheriff when you asked to transfer money to Gavin Jones?
Yes, I did.
Because you had to tell someone to move $70 from your inmate account over to Gavin Jones' inmate account, right?
Yes.
And what did the sheriff say to you?
Can I say his name?
Sure.
Adam Clark took me to the side, brought me to another room. He looked at me and he said, "Why do you want to do this? Why do you want to bail him out?" And I told him, I said that he's a troubled kid and that he needs direction. I felt bad for him. He said he's not going to do nothing for you when he gets out or threaten your family. I just said no.
So you'd gotten to a situation where you kind of felt some empathy for Mr. Jones.
Correct.
Did Mr. Jones, over that period of time you two were in jail, begin to confide in you?
Yeah, he got comfortable with me.
How much older do you think you are than Mr. Jones?
Jones is 21.
And you again are how old?
46.
Okay. Back up just a little bit so you aren't getting the... during the time you were in Keokuk County, did Mr. Jones talk about the death of a woman named Mollie Tibbetts with you?
Yes, he did.
And when he spoke to you, was he speaking to you in this comfortable fashion or was it braggadocious? Describe to me the context.
He didn't have no emotion. He just was talking like we talk right now.
Okay. So he wasn't bragging?
No.
Wasn't showing off?
No, he was just serious.
How did the conversation begin about Mollie Tibbetts?
When I went back in from talking to Adam Clark, I went back in and he asked me what he said. And I told him, I said that he wanted to know if you were going to do anything for me when you leave or threaten my family.
So this conversation occurred shortly before Mr. Jones bailing out?
Yes, because he had like 13 more days left, somewhere around there.
Look at how I just got max strength generic Viagra for only $1 each from Friday.
His involvement in the death of Mollie Tibbetts?
He told me when I told him that, he's like, yeah, he knows that I'm dangerous. And I just kind of shrugged my shoulders like, yeah, I don't think so. And then he's like, do you know the Tibbet case? I said, no, I've only been here a month. I don't know nobody.
Okay. So Mr. Jones told you that the deputy knew he was dangerous, and then he goes on to tell you, or ask you if you know about the Tibbetts case.
Yeah.
And again, his affect is just normal?
Yeah.
Okay. And did it stop there, the conversation?
And then I told him, I said, no. He's like, yeah. He's like, I killed her. I'm like, I said, I don't believe you. And then he said, he says, you know the guy that's being charged for it right now? I said, no, I don't. He's like, reset him up. He's like, it was a sex trafficking case gone wrong, and I stabbed her to death and put her in a tarp, me and my black friend that doesn't speak English that good, and set him up. And I still told him, I said, I don't think you're telling, I don't believe you. And
why did you not believe him?
because why would someone tell me something so heinous like that? I just thought he was trying to be tough.
Okay. So he just tells you that he killed her. He told you he stabbed her?
Stabbed her to death.
And he told you that the guy that they had charged is the wrong guy?
Correct. He says reset him up. He did not kill him.
How is his demeanor at this point? Is he still pretty...
Still normal. And then I told him, I said, what's the sex trafficker? What's that all about? I said, what's that? I said, I don't know nothing about it. And that's when he started telling me about him being kicked out of his house since he's been 13, living in trap houses and on the street around Des Moines.
Okay.
And he said that him and this guy named Dalton Hansen, which also I need to add that his AKA street name was called Debo, and they would be living in these trap houses at that age. And that's when the office, when I was speaking with Dalton Hansen, he said that he was in the trap house when Adam Clark arrested Gavin Jones. And then I told him, I said, what's with the sex trafficker? And then he started telling me that it's a person that calls this guy and wants some specific girl color hair, eyes, weight, and this sex trafficker will hire another guy to go steal a vehicle and stake out the neighborhood and get this girl or whoever and bring her to the trap house and then do the thing.
Did he give you any type of idea as to how this particular operation he was working with was run? Like any players?
Yes. He told me the name, but I forgot the name. But he said he'd always see this one big guy come in dressed up nice and clean with always a new car. And he would talk to these other guys that were at the trap house. I don't know if they were dealing drugs but he said he'd always see women, girls coming in and out, going down the basement. He said he's seen a lot of weird things.
Did he give you a location of the trap house or any trap house?
No, he didn't.
Did he mention anything about law enforcement?
Yes, he did.
What did he say?
He said the sex trafficker lived in Tama, and he had a wife with two daughters, and that he'd have the Tama police work for this guy to get these girls. And
Did he say Tama Police, or did he mention Tama County Sheriff?
No, just Tama Police.
Okay. And the Tama County Police, or Tama Police, would they, according to Gavin, help abduct women?
That's what Gavin told me.
Okay. Did he give you a name of any Tama Police?
No, he didn't. He says, you know, this sex trafficker knows a lot of important people.
Okay. Did he indicate to you that he saw Mollie Tibbetts in a trap house?
No, he didn't.
He didn't tell you that he saw Mollie in the basement of a house?
Yes, he had.
Okay, tell us about that.
He's, well, going further with the sex trafficker, he was asked Gavin, Jones, and Dalton, he asked this guy and asked him why these two kids were in this trap house. And the guy said that they were homeless. So the sex trafficker took these two under his wing and started paying for him to go steal vehicles for him. And that's when they stole the vehicle, him, Gavin Jones, Dalton Hansen, and his black friend that couldn't speak English stole the vehicle and then had a shootout with the police, and then drove up to this house and ran down the basement. And when Gavin and his friend were down there, he heard a noise from a room. He opened the door, he seen a woman bound to a chair and gagged.
And was he able to identify that woman?
Later on he did. He went upstairs and said that if the police went to the next house over, they would have caught her. And I said, who's that? Tibbetts. And that's when the sex trafficker said that he had to get rid of her. So he went back down there and stabbed her to death and then put her in a tarp.
Did he talk about how they were able to set up the man who was eventually convicted?
What's that?
Did he say how he was able to set up the man who was eventually convicted?
Yes, he told me he went back upstairs and the sex trafficker said that the defendant almost tipped him off. So that's why they had to get rid of him and then take the body and plant it to look like he did it.
Did he say why they picked this particular person?
No, because they almost tipped, because the defendant almost tipped the sex trafficker off. That's what Gavin told me.
Now, you didn't tell this story until almost the very end of Mr. Bahena's trial, right?
What's that?
You didn't tell any of this stuff until the very end of Mr. Bahena's trial.
Me?
Yes.
I haven't. No, I haven't said nothing for a whole year because I didn't really believe him. And when I did believe him, I seen two clips on Fox News.
When you saw the clips on Fox News, what were the clips that caught your attention?
One of them, the first one was with the defendant. They were saying that he had a family and, excuse me.
You think you're fine after a car accident until this happens. Most people don't realize that even accidents that seem minor can financially destroy you when the...
And the second clip said that he didn't kill her and that he was set up by two men. And right there, I told myself, my conscience told me, I said I should say something, even if it's not true.
Okay. So based upon those clips, what did you do?
I went and talked to my boss at work and...
A chaplain? You took a chaplain?
Yes.
Now, are you getting any benefit out of telling this story?
No, I'm not.
You're not getting your sentence reduced?
No, I'm not.
So no matter what you say here today, you're still going to be out of prison in December?
Correct.
Nobody's offering you any money?
No.
No one's offering you any promises of a shorter parole, are they?
No.
What's the culture like in prison for people who come forward and testify in open court?
I have no idea.
Is it good?
Probably not, but I'd rather do the right thing.
So you're getting absolutely zero benefit out of telling this version of what Gavin Jones told you?
Zero.
Okay. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Any cross?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Mackey, you said the info that you got on this case was from the news, is that correct?
Correct.
And there were two particular clips that you saw that made you think about what you'd been told, or that the defendant had a family?
Yes.
And that the defendant said he didn't kill Molly Tibbetts? Is that right?
No, I seen it. He said where he had a family. They were talking about that he had a family, a wife and kids, and that he didn't have a criminal record.
Was there a second clip?
Yes.
And in that clip, the defendant said that he didn't kill Molly Tibbetts, is that right?
Correct.
Did you watch any of the trial testimony?
No, I didn't.
Do you know any of the facts that were presented at the trial?
None.
Did you say that Gavin Jones told you that he'd been kicked out of the house when he was 13 years old? Is that
yes.
right? And Gavin Jones told you that he'd been staying at trap houses in Des Moines and other places since that time, is that right?
Yes.
Do you know how old Gavin Jones was in 2017?
No, I don't.
He's about 21 years old now, correct?
Yes.
So 4 years ago, he would have been 17, correct?
Correct.
Did Gavin Jones tell you anything about where he was in late 2017 and early 2018?
No, he hasn't.
You weren't aware that he was in the state's custody from September 2017 to December 2017?
No.
Were you aware that he was in a rehab facility from December 2017 to July 2018?
No.
He didn't tell you that?
No, he hasn't.
Did Gavin Jones tell you that after he left the rehab facility, he went to an assisted living under court supervision?
He didn't tell me none of that.
Was Gavin Jones supposed to pay you back the money that you gave him for his bond?
No.
I'd like to go over the story that Gavin Jones told you, he said he and Dalton Hanson were staying at trap houses. Is that correct?
Yes.
And these were actually drug houses.
Yes.
And Gavin told you that while he was at one of these drug houses, he made an arrangement with the owner to steal cars, correct?
Not the owner. It was a person that always was there to do whatever they do.
And the agreement was made by Gavin Jones and Dalton Hanson with this visitor at the drug house, is that right?
Yeah, the sex trafficker guy told this one guy and asked him why they were there.
And Gavin told you that he and Dalton Hanson agreed to steal cars for this individual?
Yes.
And they in fact did steal cars for this individual?
Yes, a lot of them.
At least that's what Gavin told you?
That's what yes.
And when would this have occurred?
He didn't tell me. He didn't give me no dates or nothing. That's what he said.
And Gavin Jones told you that while he was stealing cars for this individual, he got in a shootout with police, correct?
Correct.
Did he say when that happened?
He didn't say that.
Did he say there were any charges filed as a result of that?
The only one that said anything about it was Dalton Hanson after Gavin Jones left. He said that he was afraid of being indicted. And I told him, I said, for what for? And he said, for a shootout with the police.
So this drug house, was this in New Sharon?
I have no idea.
Mr. Mackey, you made a comment that the defendant became involved because he tipped off the sex trafficker. What did you mean by that?
That's what Gavin said. I don't know anything why he said that, but that's what he said.
You were interviewed a couple different times about the statements that Gavin Jones made to you, correct?
Correct.
You were interviewed by law enforcement?
Just state detective.
And you also spoke with an investigator that defense counsel sent to talk with you?
In Mount Pleasant, yes.
I'm sorry, it's a repetition of the answer.
In Mount Pleasant.
Thank you.
Inside, it is interesting that it's only a small amount of blood, though, Vinny, given that the medical examiner is going to tell this jury on Monday that she died of multiple sharp force injuries. So not quite sure why there's not more blood inside the trunk of his car.
But it's there, and it's his car, it's his truck, it's his trunk that he was driving. We've seen the surveillance video, we've seen all of that. And again, it seems a big part of what the defense is trying to do is say this is some sort of a coerced false confession, yet you have now more evidence that is consistent with this so-called forced false confession from at least the argument the defense is going to make, and this completely undermines that.
That's correct. I don't know what theory they're going to come up to overwhelm that, because again, this corroborates the story and the statement. Maybe he wasn't aware that this was happening in his vehicle. Just to point out, there was a court document filed a long time ago where the defense was alleging someone else's DNA was found inside the trunk, and I didn't know really where they were getting with that, maybe pointing to someone else who took over his car and used it and he didn't know about it.
The man convicted of killing 20-year-old Mollie Tibbetts is asking for a new trial. Christian Bahena Rivera was supposed to be sentenced to life in prison yesterday for the 2018 murder of the University of Iowa student. Instead, a judge is now considering possible new evidence. The defense supports Rivera's testimony of being kidnapped and framed for her murder. Meg Oliver joins us now with more on this new twist in the case. Meg, good morning to you.
Gail, good morning. This case was supposed to be done today, but now many are blindsided by the defense's new claims. They say new information from two separate witnesses could have helped their client's case, instead pointing to an alleged sex trafficking ring that may have been involved in Tibbetts and other local disappearances.
And it's not just that. It is the people who have been abandoned by this administration and Donald Trump, specifically one fired advisor to Donald Trump, who has leaked an Epstein text that not only exposes some of the criminality of Donald Trump, but raises suspicions about Epstein's death. We are going to get into it all, especially that text. But before we do, if I could quickly ask.
I don't care about it, released or not. What I think you should do, if you're going to do it, then you have to go into Epstein's friends. This Reid Hoffman spent a lot of time on the island. I was never on his island. Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times.
Trump last night making his new position clear. House Republicans should vote to release the Epstein files because we have nothing to hide, and it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax. It comes ahead of tomorrow's expected vote in the House on a bill that could force the release of all of the Justice Department's files on Epstein.
Protect pedophiles if you don't vote to release these files. The record of this vote will last longer than Donald Trump's presidency.
Trump this weekend attacking his former ally, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, calling her a lunatic and a traitor after she supported releasing the files.
I believe the country deserves transparency in these files, and I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong.
Greene saying since Trump's attacks, she's received multiple threats, saying this puts blood in the water and creates a feeding frenzy, and it could ultimately lead to a harmful or even deadly outcome.
Continuing both the sentencing and the hearing on motion for new trial. And by agreement, we are here today on the limited issue of the defense's motion to compel. File should reflect that the defendant's motion for new trial was filed July 8th of 2021. From the state standpoint, is that an accurate representation of what brings us here today?
But we're going to be discussing today and what evidence is going to be offered, so I'd like to be heard on that at some point.
From the defense's standpoint, do you agree with my recitation?
Yes.
Well, I guess let me, not to cut you off, Mr. Brown, and depending on where we go here, I may give you some latitude to make your argument, but I'll start with Ms. Freeze. Again, we're here on your motion to compel. What I anticipate and what I expect from you then is a professional statement as to what you are wanting and why, and then give the state an opportunity to respond, and we'll proceed that way. So, Ms. Freeze, you're up. What are you desiring from the state at this time?
Thank you, Your Honor.
On July 13th, 2021, we filed a motion to continue hearing on post-trial motions and sentencing and a motion to compel Brady evidence. Essentially, what we are asking for, and I will tell you, we have witnesses and we are ready to proceed with evidence. That being said, I do agree with Mr. Brown that a professional statement of the evidence that we've gathered and what we want may be appropriate. Essentially, this is where we're at right now. After Christian Bahena testified, two people came forward. One person's name was Arnie Mackey. That man is in a conference room adjacent to this courtroom. Arnie Mackey, after listening to Christian Bahena Rivera testify at trial, realized that Mr. Bahena Rivera's statements corroborated a statement by another inmate that he resided with at the Keokuk County Jail. That inmate's name is Gavin Jones. Gavin Jones admitted to Arnie Mackey that he and another gentleman were the killers of Mollie Tibbetts. He also admitted to Mr. Mackey that there was a trap house that was involved and that Mollie Tibbetts was abducted for the purposes of sex trafficking. This man admitted that the story involving Ms. Tibbetts became too big, too fast. As the court is well aware and as the evidence was produced at trial, this case had national attention very quickly. That this woman presumably was out for a jog and was just snatched out of thin air. So Mr. McKee comes forward. The information, and this was passed on to the state, but the information that was presented at the trial and that was conveyed to the defense was essentially that some inmate was running his mouth, that another inmate had said something. What we found out after trial is that this inmate identified this Gavin Jones. It has since been linked that they both were in the same jail at the same time. Further, there's evidence corroborating this inmate made statements that he and Gavin Jones were close, and that one of them put money on the other person's books. I believe Mr. McKee put money on Mr. Jones's books. And that has also been corroborated with jail records. So we have a reason to believe that Mr. McKee, the information that he is giving is true. Even more concerning is that at the same time Mr. Bahena Rivera is testifying, later on that afternoon, Mr. McKee comes forward, and within hours, another witness, that witness's name is Lindsay Voss. Lindsay Voss also indicates that the same man, Gavin Jones, that she was his girlfriend, and that Gavin Jones admitted to killing Mollie Tibbetts. It further was corroborated with Lindsay Voss, that she was in a volatile relationship with Mr. Jones, that she sought and received a 236 protective order based on domestic violence from Mr. Jones, that he held a gun to her head on an occasion, and further, there is evidence through a deputy that Gavin Jones was arrested and in the same car with Ms. Voss. So we've got two separate people. Since this information has come together, we have continued to investigate. And through our investigation, through no evidence that's been provided by the state, through our independent investigation, we received a search warrant that was authored in 2019 involving James Lowe. James Lowe is alleged to be a sex trafficker that is in was sex trafficking women out of a home in Mahaska County. James Lowe, even more concerning, a separate woman came forward in 2019 and said that she was introduced to James Lowe at a Casey's in Brooklyn, Iowa. So the same town that Mollie Tibbetts was abducted from. This woman says that she was given gas money and lured to James Lowe's residence that another male and Adam Moshman owns, and that she was put in a room, drugged, and prostituted herself on a nightly basis. So essentially she was drugged to a point that she was not able to consent or not, and it just went over and over and over again. This woman indicated that she was in a room by herself, but that she could hear voices of other women, and she could also hear voices of men and Mr. Lowe talking in the morning saying, "Did you have a good time? Was it worth it?" This woman was deemed credible as law enforcement requested from a magistrate a search warrant, and they were granted a search warrant for James Lowe's residence. There also was information in the search warrant that there was another woman that was attempted to be abducted by James Lowe, and she identified him as 90 to 100% the person that attempted to abduct her. James Lowe is currently in custody. He is currently in custody on federal firearms charges. He was arrested just 2 days after Xavier Harrelson was missing. So the information we have is we have these two people coming forward identifying Gavin Jones. Gavin Jones indicating that he was a sex trafficker for a 50-year-old man. that he was at a trap house of a 50-year-old man. This woman that alleged to have been in this trap house, also involving a 50-year-old man, James Lowe, she was abducted in May of 2018. So just 2 months prior to the Mollie Tibbetts investigation. The Iowa DCI did the interview. We have not received it. It's exculpatory, and we have not received any of the information involving the investigation into James Lowe. There were devices, computers, thumb drives that were seized and that were presumably sent to be looked at for a sex trafficking investigation. That evidence is exculpatory and it has not been produced. Your Honor, I'd ask you to consider this case and consider that we are not in a metropolitan area. Poweshiek County has 18,000 people. Brooklyn, Iowa has 1,700 people. Montezuma has 1,300 people. What information do we have? We have information that 3 people have vanished out of thin air in this small rural county. Mollie Tibbetts, Xavier Harrelson, and the woman that reported being abducted in May of 2018 and sex trafficked. We are willing to consent to any sort of a protective order. We recognize that this boy, Xavier Harrelson, is missing and that there is an ongoing investigation as to who his killer is and what happened to this little boy. We would be willing to consent to any sort of a protective order that the court issues to not disclose any information contained. However, I think that it would be preposterous to believe that the Christian Bahena and the Mollie Tibbetts names did not come up in the Xavier Harrelson investigation. We have 2 people that went missing in incredibly small towns. And all we are asking is that Mr. Bahena be given a fair shot, that through his attorneys we be allowed to look at this information. We are asking that any sex trafficking investigation involving James Lowe or residents of Poweshiek County or adjoining counties be produced. We are also asking for any pending investigations of James Lowe during the period that Mollie Tibbetts went missing and present. And I note James Lowe is clearly linked to the Xavier Harrelson disappearance. I strongly suspect that he is a suspect and that he is believed to have been involved. But at the very least, he is a witness. James Lowe was on the lam. He was warrant out for approximately a year, approaching May 27th, 2021, when Xavier Harrelson was last reported seen. On May 29th, he is located in Iowa County, and the reason that he's located is that not a traffic stop, not a traffic violation, it is because he is being looked for. And an agent from the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation I would assume an agent that is actively working on the Xavier Harrelson disappearance pulls over a car that has a sawed-off shotgun, and James Lowe runs from that car and runs from law enforcement. He is currently being held on firearm charges in the Lynn County Jail for federal charges. The last thing that we are requesting is any investigations involving inmate 2, who I've now identified as Gavin Jones. We have 2 separate people indicating that he has made an admission to killing Mollie Tibbetts. And I note that Brady dealt with that exact issue. Brady is the case that every defense attorney cites regarding exculpatory information. The facts of Brady involved a